one statement about your outfit. It's fantastic
Yes,
today.
thank you. This outfit, I helped design it with Lisa. It's very much my style.
The world loves a prodigy, a child who rises faster, jumps higher, and wins earlier than anyone thought possible. The cameras flash, headlines explode, fans celebrate the miracle. But what if the greatest moment of a young champion's life becomes something they try to forget? Imagine becoming a national champion at just 13 years old, a dream that millions of athletes chase for decades. Now, imagine barely remembering it. That's exactly what happened to figure skating sensation Alysa Liu. In a recent interview with Rolling Stone, Liu revealed something deeply unsettling. When asked about winning the U.S. national championships as a child, she admitted she doesn't remember much of it. Not because it wasn't important, but because that time in her life was so painful, her mind may have simply blocked it out. So, what really happens behind the glittering medals and standing ovations? And what does this reveal about the hidden cost of child stardom in elite sports? This story is more complicated than you might think. To understand the weight of Liu's confession, we have to go back to the beginning. Alysa Liu was born in 2005 in Clovis, California. From a very young age, it was clear she wasn't just another promising skater. She was extraordinary. Her father, Arthur Liu, a Chinese immigrant and attorney, raised her as a single parent. He had a vision for his daughter, not just success, but greatness. By the time Alysa was a small child, skating had already become the center of her life. The rink wasn't just a place she visited, it was where she lived. Her natural talent quickly stunned coaches and judges. While most young skaters struggled with advanced jumps, Alysa seemed fearless. At an age when many kids are learning multiplication tables, she was learning triple axels. And then came the moment that changed everything. In 2019, at just 13 years old, Alysa Liu stepped onto the ice at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. The pressure was enormous. The crowd knew they were witnessing something special. And when Liu completed her program, history was made. She became the youngest U.S. women's national champion in nearly a quarter century. The sports world erupted. Headlines called her the future of American skating. Fans celebrated a once-in-a-generation talent. But while the world saw a fairy tale, Liu was living a very different reality. In her Rolling Stone interview, Liu described what those years were really like behind the scenes. Practice wasn't fun. It was survival. She trained from 7 in the morning until 7 at night, nearly every single day. Imagine being a young teenager and spending 12 hours a day chasing perfection. Every jump mattered. Every mistake had consequences. Liu recalled crying after falling on jumps during practice, not occasionally, but constantly. The environment around her was intensely strict. Expectations were sky high, and there was little room for emotional relief. She described feeling like she was in fight or flight mode all the time. That phrase says everything. Fight or flight is the body's response to danger. It's what humans experience when they feel threatened or trapped. For Liu, skating, the thing that made her famous, felt like that kind of pressure every day. And the fear wasn't just about losing competitions. It was deeper than that. She feared that if she took even one day off, she might lose her jumps, lose her abilities, lose the very thing that made her special. So she kept skating. Every day. No breaks, no breathing room. And slowly, something else began to disappear. Her childhood. While other kids celebrated birthdays and holidays with family and friends, Liu was usually at the rink, practicing, training, repeating the same routines over and over. Eventually, the days blurred together. In fact, Liu admitted she can barely recall specific years from that time. every day was the same, she explained. Without birthdays, holidays, or typical childhood moments to mark time, the timeline of her life became blurry. Think about that for a moment. One of the most celebrated young champions in American sports history can't clearly remember the years when she became famous. And that raises an uncomfortable question. How many other young athletes experience something similar? In elite sports, especially disciplines like gymnastics and figure skating, success often comes very young. The window is short, the pressure is massive, and the sacrifices can be overwhelming. Fans see the medals, but they rarely see the emotional toll. Liu's confession has sparked conversations across the sports world. Some fans feel deep sympathy for what she went through. Others argue that intense training is simply part of becoming a champion. After all, many legendary athletes have endured brutal schedules and extreme expectations. But here's the difference. Most of those athletes weren't children. At 13 years old, Liu was still discovering who she was as a person. Yet she was also carrying the hopes of an entire sport. Media attention intensified the pressure even more. Every performance was analyzed. Every mistake was discussed. Every victory raised expectations even higher. Suddenly, a young teenager wasn't just competing anymore. She was representing the future of American figure skating. And that kind of spotlight can be incredibly heavy. Psychologists often talk about the concept of identity foreclosure in young athletes. It happens when a child's entire identity becomes tied to one activity, one skill, one path. When that happens, stepping away or failing can feel like losing yourself entirely. For Liu, skating wasn't just something she did, it was who she was supposed to be. And when every day is focused on maintaining that identity, fear can replace joy. Eventually, Liu made a decision that shocked the skating world. In 2022, shortly after competing in the Winter Olympics, she announced her retirement from competitive figure skating. She was just 16 years old. Fans were stunned. Many believed her career was only beginning, but Liu had a different perspective. She explained that she simply wanted to experience life, school, friends, freedom, normal teenage moments she had missed. For some people, the decision felt sudden, but after hearing her reflections today, it makes more sense. When childhood becomes consumed by pressure and expectations, the desire to reclaim lost time can become powerful. Yet Liu's story isn't just about burnout, it's also about resilience. Despite the intense environment she described, she achieved extraordinary success. She landed jumps many adults struggle to master. She inspired a new generation of skaters, and she represented the United States on the Olympic stage. But perhaps her most powerful moment didn't happen on the ice. It happened years later, when she spoke honestly about what those early victories really felt like. In a culture that often glorifies relentless ambition, that kind of honesty is rare, and it forces us to confront a bigger question. What does success really mean? Is it medals, records, fame? Or is it something more personal, like happiness, balance, and mental well-being? For many young athletes watching Liu's story unfold, that question feels deeply relevant. Parents, coaches, and sports organizations are paying attention. Across multiple sports, there has been growing concern about burnout, mental health struggles, and the pressures placed on child prodigies. Gymnastics, tennis, swimming, and figure skating have all seen athletes step back to protect their mental health. Even global superstars like Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles have openly discussed the emotional cost of elite competition. Liu's story fits into that larger conversation, but it also carries a unique message. Because unlike many athletes who reflect on pressure after long careers, she experienced it before most teenagers even finish middle school. Today, Liu appears more relaxed and self-assured than ever. She has spoken about enjoying college life and exploring interests beyond skating. For the first time, her identity isn't defined by judges' scores or competition rankings. It's defined by choice, and that might be the most important victory of all. Still, the mystery remains. What memories from those intense early years might eventually resurface? Will time bring clarity, or will some chapters remain forever blurred? Human memory has a fascinating way of protecting us from overwhelming experiences. Sometimes the mind simply locks certain moments away, not out of weakness, but out of survival. So when Alysa Liu says she doesn't remember winning nationals at 13, it might reveal something deeper about the psychological cost of extreme pressure. And it leaves us with one final question. Was the world celebrating a dream while the young champion living it was simply trying to endure it? What do you think? Do you believe intense training at a young age is necessary to create champions? Or should sports protect young athletes from this level of pressure? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might spark an important conversation. And if you enjoy deep dive celebrity stories that explore the truth behind fame, make sure you subscribe to Celeb World Insight. Like this video, share it with friends, and stay tuned because the next story we're uncovering might change the way you see another famous star forever.